Today's MMA T Company Athlete Spotlight is with Nate Jackson. Nate is down in the Dallas Fort Worth area getting ready for the Olympic trials. Nate wrestled at the University of Indiana, and he is now a wrestling coach at Princeton University. Nate, thanks for joining us today. How's the weather down in Texas?
It's a lot nicer than in Jersey. So I'm excited to be here. Since I touched down, I had to shed a few jackets and leave my coat behind, but it's been nice and sunny. Um, and yeah, man, just trying to go realize some dreams, become an Olympic team representative. This is my first go at it. I'm pretty excited. It's something that's been on my mind for a long time now. So it's cool to be so close.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that it's your first time. I think I saw that this is your fourth year of coaching at Princeton. You were a two-time All-American, 100-match winner, when you were in college. So is it safe to say that wrestling has been your life, not just since college, but basically since you're a little kid?
Yeah, that's safe to say. My dad actually pushed me into wrestling, and I pushed back a lot, but I'm happy I stuck with it. When I was about 8 years old, I really got into it and fell in love with it. It's a really cool sport. It's really unique. You see it crossing over into the MMA and the UFC world, where the best athletes, you have to be at least baseline skilled in wrestling. So yeah, it's pretty exciting for me. And yeah, like you said, I've been coaching for 4 years in New Jersey at Princeton, and since then I've been kind of eyeing competing internationally. I've had some international success, and just this is the big one right here. So I'm excited for it.
Sure, it is absolutely the big one. And you hit on coaching a little bit, and I wanted to ask you specifically about coaching because I talked to a lot of people who coach in the sport that they kind of came up in, and they say that they don't fully appreciate the sport, appreciate the way that different athletes have different styles, things like that, until they have a whole team, that they're coaching, and they're actually learning more as a coach because of that. Is that something that happened with you as well?
Yeah, for sure. When you're an athlete, as a kid and then just going up through college, you kind of focus on yourself. You're trying to figure out what you can maximize to reach whatever goal you have. And coaching is a little bit different. You're on borrowed time, really. You have a short window where you can really impact these kids' lives to the maximum. And you can't change a kid and try to make them into a little Nate Jackson. It's not going to happen in 4 years. So you build up what they are skilled in. You end up learning a lot, watching a lot of film. And there's a thousand ways to skin a cat, right? So there's so many different ways that these kids are going to have to win. So as a coach, you just kind of compound those things, and then it translates to that next guy you work with and the next guy you work with. And for me, I've learned a lot about my own wrestling and things I can add, things I needed to take away. And I've jumped a level since I become a coach. So it's pretty cool.
And does this coaching afford you more time to train? Do you have less time to train? Are you turning coaching sessions into training sessions? How's that working for you?
So there's a lot of crossover, right? Like I spend a lot of time on the mat. Before it actually was way too much time on the mat. I was, doing individuals with this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. And then when it's time to focus on myself, sometimes my level, like I couldn't get my energy level as high as I wanted to. And then vice versa, like I was trying to take away time from there. So there's a little bit of finesse and a little balance to it. But I think that there are some times where you can focus on yourself, even in individual sessions. And then there's going to be times that you're really focused on the athlete. So we have a good balance now. The guys really understand my schedule. I have a full-time coach that's dedicated to ensuring that I'm ready. So that works out really well. And then, even the guys who I coach with on the college program, there's always different times where they're chirping at me and chiming in and giving me some advice on how I can better myself. So it's good, man. It's a really good balance. I don't think I would be where I was if I wasn't coaching. I think it would get stale too. Like I like to be challenged, not only mentally, but physically. And I like to experiment and learn different things. So through coaching, I've been able to do that. I've been able to, you know, bring a guy in and really work through a position where we both learn, and there's a lot of crossover. So it's been a good process for me, and I'm really grateful for the coaching aspect. I think that if I was just going hard on myself for a couple years, I probably wouldn't want to do it anymore. So I'm happy that I've had that breath of fresh air.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned you know, how much mat time you were getting previously, and you were doing individuals with a lot of different guys, and then it almost didn't leave you the energy, like you said, to work and focus on yourself. Coming up with a lot of wrestlers and seeing a lot of wrestlers just go 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 all the time, was recovery something that you had to kind of teach yourself as you started coming up through and realizing I can't just be hitting it that hard all the time, or, you know, my body just doesn't bounce back?
Yeah, I think, you know, the sport is it's just the nature of the beast a little bit. Like
Mhm.
we go 100 miles an hour. I think one of the best aspects of my coaching has been pulling the reins back on the guys. Obviously, you don't want to make a guy go like, hey, you got to pick it up. But I think finding the balance and just pulling back was something that my coach really worked on me with early. And you know, saying no is okay. You know, saying no to your wife, saying no to whatever, an opportunity to go make a couple bucks here, whatever. You know, you sacrifice those things for the greater goal, and that was just one part of.
And speaking of the greater goal, you're, you know, down there, you're at the Olympic trials, right? You're on the cusp of, you know, being, you know, on that team that so many people you know, hope and dream and wish for their entire lives when they're wrestling. What's that experience just been like for you since touching down? You said you had to, you know, shed a couple coats, but, you know, is it pretty surreal? Has it set in that you're actually going to be wrestling to make the team? What's it like in your head right now?
Yeah, so believe it or not, so I actually came down here last week because I had to. This has been a really cool year. So I've jumped a lot of levels within this last year. I've wrestled more than anyone in the world internationally, just taking these big time matches. And I learned a lot about myself, but I still had to qualify. So I didn't qualify last year, and because of COVID, there was no qualifying opportunity. So I had to take a tournament, which was last week, and I was able to qualify for my weight. And I just want to roll that momentum right into this week. I took a couple days off, and then today I got back on the mat. It really hasn't hit me all the way yet, but you know, I see the arena all staged and everything, so I'll take some time over there tomorrow and let it soak in. But you know, it's tunnel vision now. You know, this is what I've been working for, so I'm here.
Awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. You know, it's something that I think is more in the limelight. Wrestling has always been a pretty popular sport, but now with MMA kind of really coming forward, the ESPN deal, things like that, I'm noticing a lot more of my friends who normally just watch MMA, you know, talking about wrestling, talking about competitive jujitsu, talking about just grappling in general. Can you also feel kind of that popularity in your sport growing because of just the exposure that wrestling has been getting?
For sure. I mean, I think that wrestling had to switch it where we've always been stuck in our ways and we like our sport kind of closed off and it's tough. Anybody who talks to a wrestler, you know, like, oh, that's a tough sport, you know, but it takes more than that. And I think during this pandemic, we had to figure out how to be creative and find ways to modernize wrestling and create revenue streams. Obviously, with MMA laying a lot of the groundwork, piggybacking off of those movements because it hasn't been a lot of time. You know, this thing blew up. So um, putting money in the guys' pockets is important. It's an important step to keeping guys hungry and wanting to have more athletes. And wrestling's really on the cusp of something special. Just starting that process. And guys like myself, you know, we just got to kind of push the envelope and continue to move it forward. But it's going to take guys who are outside of the wrestling world, like you were kind of alluding to, getting interested and getting involved. And you know, for so long, wrestlers have controlled how we deliver the sport. You know, the guy who is behind the mic, he was a former wrestler, and the guy who is a ref, he is a former wrestler, and the fans, we're all former wrestlers. It's going to take more than that. It's going to take some guys who are, you know, professional for videographers, and the guys who are professional, you know, promotions managers or whatever, to get behind it. And that's starting to happen, and that transfer is starting to happen. So it's an exciting time for you know, mixed martial arts, and you know, so I'm excited to be a part of that process as well.
And we're excited to see you know, your growth through this sport, and you know, be able to kind of sponsor you, represent you. You're our first wrestler that we're working with, so we're excited for that. Alex and I are going to be watching the trials through Peacock, so that's going to be pretty cool. Before I let you go, I just wanted to give you a chance to, you know, give some shout outs to you know, like you said, your coaches, your teammates, you know, the people that have been kind of supporting you and helping you out to get to this point, because I know it's not a, it is an individual sport once you're on the mat, you know, with the lights on you, but there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. I would like to shout out New York Athletic Club. They pay for my travel, and they've really been good to me during this time. A huge shout out to my boy Highlight Humphrey, Reese Humphrey. That is, he's a coach. Follow him. Follow him on Instagram at Highlight Humphrey. He has so much crazy content. He's like a freak athlete. He could probably make an Olympic team right now if he wanted to. Um, and then NJRTC, that's my team. I put those guys on my back every time I compete. So it's really exciting time for New Jersey wrestling, and I'm happy to be one of the catalysts for that. And yeah, super excited, and you know, just really grateful for this opportunity. Again, it hasn't really hit me all the way, but the work is done, and you know, it's time to just go out there and you know, represent who I represent. Big shout out to my wife. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, and she's been huge support. So yeah, it's time to go do it for all of us.
Awesome, Nate. We're looking forward to it. Take some time to soak it in whenever you get a chance, and good luck this weekend.
All right, thank you so much,
All
John.
right, thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right, talk soon.